Chapter 28, The Fire Cult. The fire cult was grandiose in ancient Persia. The fire cult is very ancient. It is said that this cult preceded the Achaemenid dynasty and the age of Zoroaster. The Persian priests possessed a very rich esoteric liturgy related to the fire cult. The ancient Persian sages were never careless with the fire. They had the mission to keep it alight, always. The secret doctrine of Avesta says that there are different fires. The fire of the lightning that flashes in the terrifying night, that which works inside the human organism, producing calories and directing the processes of digestion. I guess that's another one. That which is concentrated in the innocent plants of nature, that which smolders within the mountains, and which is spewed out by the volcanoes of the earth. The fire that is before Ahura Mazda, forming his divine halo, and the everyday fire that the profane use to cook their food. The Persians used to say that when boiling water is spilt, or when a living being is burnt, in those cases God stops all the benefits he has granted his privileged people. In fact, fire has many modifications, but of all the fires, the most powerful is the one that blazes before Ahura Mazda, the solar logos, forming his divine halo. This fire is the result of the transmutation of the sexual secretions. This is Kundalini, the igneous serpent of our magical powers, the fire of the Holy Spirit. Whoever wants to find the fire of Ahura Mazda must search for it within the interior of his philosophical earth. This earth is the human organism itself. The Persian priests cultivated this fire in places of complete darkness, subterranean temples, and secret places. The altar was always an enormous metal chalice with its base upon the philosophical stone. The fire was always fed with fragrant and dry wood, especially the delicious branches of sandalwood. The old priests always blew upon the fire with bellows, so as not to profane it with the sinful breath from the human mouth. Fill your chalice with the sacred wine of light. Remember, dear reader, that the secret and philosophical living fire blazes within your own philosophical earth. Now you will comprehend the occult mystery of the ritual of fire. Two priests always tended the fire. Here we have the binary. They each used tongs to place the pieces of wood and a spoon to scatter it in the perfumes. There were then 2 tongs and 2 spoons. In all this, we can see the binary. By this, one is giving to understand that only the number 2 can tend the fire. It is necessary that man and woman in perfect binary light and tend the divine fire. Grammatically, this should say it is necessary that man and woman in perfect binary light. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, yeah. Perfect binary light and tend the divine fire of Ahura Mazda. In the Bundahishin, a kind of ritual gospel, it is said that in a special chamber where there was a well of sacred water where the priest performed ablutions before presenting himself or herself before the fire. Oh yeah, the priest himself before the fire of the altar, or the altar of fire rather. Only he who drinks the pure water of life can light the fire. Only he or she who washes Their feet in the waters of renunciation can light the fire. Only she who conserves the water can ritualize with the fire. That water symbolizes the ens seminis. Throughout Persia exist the remains of complex temples and antechambers where cult was rendered to the fire. These remains can be found today in Persepolis, Isfahan, Yazd, Palmyra, Susa, etc. Fire is terribly divine in the homes of those who follow the path of the perfect matrimony. Fire must never be absent. A flame lit with profound devotion is always equal to prayer. And thus, it attracts from above a tremendous flow of divine energy. Every prayer to the Logos should be accompanied by fire. Thus, the prayer is powerful. The time has come to return to the cult of fire. Gnostics should journey to the mountains and there, within the profound bosom of Mother Nature, build fires, light the fire, pray and meditate in this way. We can attract from above powerful flows of divine energy that will help us in the great work of the Father. The human being must light his 49 fires by means of sexual magic. When our thoughts are aflame, we can create like the ineffable gods of the cosmos. The holy gods are true ministers of fire. The holy gods are tongues of flaming fire. The whirling dervishes. The sacred dances of the whirling dervishes in Persia, this is weird grammar. Persia, or I guess as in Turkey, are at their base a fire cult. It is a shame that the authorities of Ankara, presuming to be very civilized, have prohibited these public dances of the whirling dervishes. The dervishes imitate the miracle of the movement of the planets of the solar system around the sun. The dances of the dervishes are intimately related with the spinal column and the sexual fires. We must never forget that the serpent enjoys music and dance, as has already been demonstrated in Egypt and India by the snake charmers. They play their marvelous flutes and the enchanted serpent dance. Rather, the serpents dance. It is now opportune to remember the ritual dances of fire of all the ancient temples. Let us remember the naked dances of the Eleusinian mysteries, the sacred dancers of India, Egypt, Mexico, Yucatan, etc. When the Akasha, or the Akashic records, fall into the hands of scientists, and the world is able to watch the fire dances of archaic times on television, then we will return to these dances, which will inevitably replace the profane dances. Egyptian darkness. Some years ago, several monks of bad faith from the Athos Moflas, Athos Moflas Teri, famous in Greece and Russia, began selling Egyptian darkness in bottles, making thus a great deal of money. It is absurd to sell Egyptian darkness as a black powder in bottles. The reality of the Egyptian darkness cannot be sold as a black powder. Egyptian darkness is an allegorical, archaic phrase. The Egyptians, when they covered themselves with their mantle and closed their eyes to the physical world, remained in darkness to the world, but in splendorous light to the spirit. At the present time, there are many sages within the Egyptian darkness. Nevertheless, they shine with sacred fire in Amen-Ra. There are many Egyptian sages who were buried alive in a state of catalepsy. They sleep deeply in their tombs until the day and the hour when they must awake, according to the plans of the White Lodge. There is one whose body has been asleep since 3,000 years before the time of Jesus, the Christ. Another has been sleeping since 10,000 years before Jesus Christ, and all of them sleep in this manner. Their bodies lie in Egyptian darkness, but their souls live consciously in the superior worlds, working intensely for humanity. When the right day and hour comes, each of these adepts will be assisted by their brethren, taken from their sepulchral home and awakened. These Egyptian adepts will initiate a new era of spiritual activity. They conserve in their memory all archaic knowledge. It is interesting to know that the bodies of these adepts, duly bandaged and bandaged and protected in their coffins, sleep without eating or drinking. All their organic functions are suspended. Strange and mysterious chemical substances protect them. Terrible elemental guardians guard their tombs, and no archaeologist will ever find them. To leave the tomb after thousands of years, to maintain oneself without eating and without drinking for so many centuries, is only possible with the fire cult, with the power of fire. All these adepts practiced sexual magic intensely. Only the serpent of fire can give the adept this kind of tremendous power. Yahweh. In the Hall of Memories, the Akash, the history of that angel called Yahweh, is written. The Saturninus of Antioch, the great Kabbalist, says that Yahweh is a fallen angel, the genius of evil, the devil. Yahweh is an extremely perverse demon. Yahweh is that demon who tempted Christ in the desert and took him to the mountain to say to him, Ita Babo, all these things, kingdoms of the world, will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Yahweh called the Jewish people my chosen people. The Jews have intentionally confused Yahweh with the Lord Yehovah. Yahweh was a Lemurian hierophant. Yahweh had a priestess wife. Yahweh was an angel with a human body. The master Yahweh was a warrior of the light, a great priest of the ray of force, and due to his high priestly dignity and the legitimate right to wear a helmet and armor, shield and sword made of pure gold. The priestess wife of Yahweh was clearly a lady adept. In archaic times, the warrior and priestly castes developed independently of each other. Nevertheless, there were exceptions, as in the city of Yahweh, who was both priestess and warrior. Floating in the Lemurian atmosphere were the Lucifers of the ancient Earth Moon. They searched for and found proselytes. Yahweh was one of their proselytes. Yahweh became a disciple of these tenebrous sublunar beings and practiced black sexual magic, spilling the glass of Hermes. This is the science of the bones and dugpas, of the red cap. The result was fatal. The igneous serpent fell. He descended towards the atomic infernos of men, and Yahweh became a terribly perverse demon. This history is described in the Akash. Yahweh became a member of a temple of Black Lemurian Tantrism. His priestess wife never accepted sexual magic with the spilling of the hermetic glass. Yahweh fell with another woman. The efforts Yahweh made to convince his priestess wife were useless. She refused to enter the Black Temple. The marriage ended. The Lady Adept did not want to enter the Black Path. Now this Lady Adept is an ineffable angel of the superior worlds. The fire cult is very delicate. The gods of fire help to protect all those who follow the path of the perfect matrimony. The ages of the world. The division of the history of humanity into the golden, silver, copper, and iron ages is a tremendous reality. The planetary fire undergoes involution and evolution, passing through these 4 above-mentioned stages. There is no doubt that the fire of our planet Earth has produced very little profit in the 3 preceding rounds and in the ancient Earth Moon. This fire is full of karma. To this we owe the failure of humanity on the planet Earth. The cycles unfold alternately. An age of great mystical inspiration and of unconscious productivity is followed by one of tremendous critique and of self-consciousness. One provides the material for the analysis and a critique of the other. In the field of spiritual conquests, Buddha and Jesus represent the highest conquests of the spirit. Alexander of Macedonia and Napoleon the Great represent the conquests in the physical world. These figures were reproductions made by the fire. Reproductions of human types that had existed 10,000 years before, reflected images of the 10th preceding millennium, produced by the mysterious fires, or rather powers of fire. As above, so below. What has been shall be again. In the same way as things are in heaven, so they are on earth. If the fire of our planet had only, or rather totally evolved in the ancient Earth Moon and the 3 preceding rounds, in this moment of life, in this moment the life of our Earth would be a true paradise. Unfortunately, our planetary fire is full of cosmic karma. The great problem. All humanity together, the sum of all human units, is Adam Kadmon, the human race, Homo sapiens, the Sphinx. That is, the being with the body of an animal and the head of a man. The human being participates as a component part in many lives, great and small. The family, populace, religion, country are living beings of which we form a part of. Within ourselves, there are many unknown lives, many eyes that quarrel among themselves, and many eyes that do not know each other. Perhaps the author meant to spell this as I as well. There are many unknown eyes. All of them live within man, just as man and all men live within the great spiritual body of Adam Kadmon. These eyes live within man just as man and all men live within cities, towns, and religious congregations, etc. In the same way that the inhabitants of a city do not know each other, so also not all the eyes that live within the city of 9 gates, man, are known to each other. This is the great problem. The so-called man does not yet have true existence. Man is still an unrealized being. Man is more like a house occupied by many people. Man is like a ship in which many passengers travel, many eyes. Each has his own ideals, projects, desires, and so on. The eye that is enthusiastic about the work of the mystery of the fire is later displaced by another eye that hates that work. A rid if the aspirant began to work in the forge of Vulcan. with much enthusiasm. Then we see him later disillusioned, leaving the work and seeking refuge in any little school that offers him consolation. Then later another I intervenes to take him from there also. In the psyche of the human being, there occurs a continuous change of perspective from one object to another. Within the mind, there is a continuous film of impressions, occurrences, feelings, desires, etc. And each one of these things perfectly defines the I in a given moment. Within the city of the 9 gates live many people. This is the serious thing. This is the great problem. The fire cult is very difficult because within the city of 9 gates live many people who hate that cult. So in other words, within the body, there are many aggregates, egos of different elements, like natural elements, fire, water, air, etc., and different levels of these elements that don't get along and have completely different perspectives and desires and preferences. And they're all selfish, so none of them like the fire of the body because that fire kills those egos. The physical body is only one section of the tetra-dimensional body, the linga sharira, or vital body. The human personality is in turn another tetra-dimensional section of the human body. Beyond this is the ego, the pluralized I, like an upper part of the human personality. Personality dies, but its memory remains in the ego. The poor intellectual animal still knows nothing about the soul and spirit. This is still very far from the common level of humanity. The body, the personality, and the ego are still unknown to each other because the human being is subconscious. The common man can know much less again about the soul and spirit. In fact, the 3 inferior aspects of man, the body, the personality, and the ego, can only know each other under the influence of narcotics, or in trance, or in mediumistic or hypnotic states, or during sleep, or through ecstasy. The mystery of the Sphinx is man. The animal with a human head is man. Whilst one has not resolved the problem of the Sphinx, one can fall into the abyss of perdition. Everyone who is working in the magistery of fire must daily beg much help from his Father who is in secret. It is urgent to appeal to our internal God to repeat in our inner consciousness the miracle accomplished by Jesus when he expelled the merchants from the temple with the terrible whip of the will. Only the beloved can expel these intrusive eyes from the temple of our consciousness. These merchants of the temple sabotage the great work. These evil ones are they who put out the fires of the temple. This is the great problem. Really, this is the path of the razor's edge. This path is full of dangers, both within and without. Because many are called, but few are chosen. That's quoted from the Bible. The 4 Gospels. The 4 Gospels are intimately related with the magistery of fire. It is absurd to interpret the 4 Gospels literally. Those Gospels are completely symbolic. The birth in the manger of Bethlehem symbolizes the Venustic initiation. Christ is always born in the stable of man, among the animals of desire to save the world. The star that the wise men saw is seen by all mystics during ecstasy. This star is the central sun, the Christ sun, formed by the army of the voice. This is the sun that announces initiation. This is the star that guides the devotees of the fire. Initiation always begins with the miracle of Canaan, transmuting the water of life into the wine of light of the alchemists. This miracle is realized in the perfect matrimony. We have to raise the igneous serpent of our magical powers up to the Golgotha, or Golgotha of the Father, the cerebrum. In the magistery of fire, the true devotee has to live the whole drama of initiation. The 4 Gospels are written in code, and only initiates understand them. The Hierophant Jesus was not the first to live this drama of the Passion, nor was he the last. This drama has been lived by all those who have Christified themselves. Whoever investigates the sacred scriptures of all the archaic religions will discover with surprise that this drama existed many millions of years ago, before Jesus Christ. All the great avatars have lived the same drama of the Passion, have been in the position of Jesus. The great master of perfection lived the whole drama as it is written, but we must not interpret the 4 Gospels literally. Let us remember that the town of Bethlehem did not even exist in the time of Jesus. The 4 Gospels constitute a practical guide for the devotees of the fire cult. Whoever does not know the Arcanum AZF cannot understand the 4 Gospels of fire. The Mother Kundalini. Christ is always working, or rather is always the son of the Divine Mother Kundalini. She always conceives her son through the work and grace of the 3rd Logos. She is always virgin, before the birth, during the birth, and after the birth. Among the Egyptians, the virgin is Isis. Among the Hindu, Kali in her positive aspect. Among the Aztecs, Tonantzin, she is Re, Cybele, Maria, Adonai, Insoberta, etc., etc. It would be impossible to incarnate the world without the development, evolution, and progress of Kundalini. This prayer is written in a Gnostic ritual. O Hadit, winged serpent of light, he thou the Gnostic secret of my being, the central point of my connection, the sacred sphere and the blue of the heavens are mine. O Akakof na Konza. The worshippers of the fire can offer this prayer during the practice of sexual magic with their priestess. The letter H of Hadit is vocalized as a J, thus Jadit. This explanation is given because in Spanish the H is silent. English speakers may pronounce Hadith as written. The Hadith with the H as written. The mantram of this prayer has the power to sublimate the sexual energy, the hyal of the Gnostics, to the heart. When the initiate invokes the Divine Mother Kundalini, either to help him place his physical body in a state of jinn, or for other miracle or high magic, she appears as a most pure virgin, as a most adorable mother. All our most beloved mothers of all our reincarnations are represented in here. Mother Kundalini is the serpent of fire that rises through the medullary channel. We need to be swallowed by the snake. We need to be transformed into the snake itself. Those pseudo-esotericists who suppose that the serpent awakens totally and completely developed are very mistaken. Kundalini needs to develop, evolve, and progress until it reaches its complete development. Sex must help Kundalini, Kundalini must help sex. We must neither abuse sex or Kundalini. The 7 serpents have their marvelous double in the 7 serpents of light. First the fire, then the Brahmanic brilliance of the Venustic initiation. We need first to climb the septenary scale of fire, and then the septenary scale of light. First we need to resurrect in the fire, and then in the light. The Divine Mother Kundalini, with the golden child of the sexual alchemy in her loving arms, guides us through the terrible path of the razor's edge. Our adorable Isis, whose veil no mortal has ever lifted, can pardon all of our past karma if we really repent of all our errors. The serpent of fire transforms us totally. The serpent transforms us into tremendously divine gods of the cosmos.